Hardware, man. SBA got the Latin American Chevrolet showing it for the camera.
They got some trainers say, and some fighters say, well, I don't watch videos of the guy fighting. I let the coach watch it. This, hey, man.
Guys, one thing we know for sure about Wilder, he hit you clean. Right. And this woman whooped the whole world twice. The whole world.
What's going on, Facebook, YouTube? It's your boy Fresh with another episode of Soapboxing Podcast. We appreciate you tuning in. We're excited to be here. Coach Derek is on site today. He's not going to be able to join us. He's at the Houston Golden Gloves. We've been fighting all week, and Tristan made it to the finals tonight, and so he's there. He's going to try and pop in and chat with us if he can and give us some updates. But we are super excited today to have Miguel El Michoacano, right? That's how you say it,
Michoacano, yeah.
El Michoacano Flores, H-Town fighter. Quick little story on Michoacano. Growing up, I'm from Chicago, born and raised.
Chicago.
And my aunt, by marriage, used to always talk about Michoacano, and that's where she was from. And I swear, up to about maybe 12 or 13, I always thought she was talking about Michigan. Being from Chicago, I thought she was. But I'm like, how are you from Michigan? I thought you were Michoacano way. She said Michoacano way.
Yeah, close
Michoacano,
enough,
Mexico,
right?
Yeah.
No, see,
So,
I get that a lot. Like, I get asked, like, what does your nickname mean? Like, somebody said, is it like machine? I'm like, no. Like, that's my hometown, in Mexico. So, like in Texas, you're a Texan. So if you're from Michoacan, you're Michoacano, So, and that was actually my brother's nickname. And so it just stuck with me. People just started calling me that. So it just stuck with me.
Well, that's what's up. Well, so you're from Michoacan. When did you get here to Houston?
My parents brought me to Houston when I was about 3-4 years old, man. Yeah, they brought me here. Just me, my older brother and my sister stayed back in Mexico, and they came over here like 2 years later after I came.
So you Houstonian through and through then.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up here, but I'm always gonna say I'm Mexican, man.
Yeah, that's the DNA, bro. That's the blood for sure.
Sometimes they're like, Mexican American. I'm like, no, Mexican, 100% Mexican. Yeah.
Hey, bro, ain't nothing wrong with that. We gotta represent 1,000%.
Yeah.
So you were out here by the age of 3. How old were you when you started boxing, bro?
So, I mean, I can't really say because I used to come to the gym when I was like 5-6 years old. So when my brother came over here, my brother was about 8 years older than me. So my dad was trying to find something for my brother to do. And he started taking my brother to the boxing gym. So I would just come along, man. And I wouldn't even really work out. I would just come, hang out. When you're around the boxing world, man, you start picking up little things. I'll watch the guy spar. I'll half-ass hit the bag, go play around. And so I've been in the boxing gym, man, since I was like 5-6 years old. Now, when I really started to pick up on it was when I was about 8 years old. That's when I had my first amateur fight.
It's funny you say that because, we have a gym out here on the west side of Houston in Katy. And I see it all the time, bro. I see, the older siblings in the gym working out, and mom or dad will be sitting down somewhere, and then you see the little brother or the little sister, 4, 5, 6 years old,
running around,
hitting the bag, just wanting to be a part of it. And in the back of my head, I'm always thinking, that's the one in the family that's going to be kicking ass and taking this serious.
Starts, man. That's where it starts.
That's what's up. We have Jaime Martinez already tuning in, saying, Mikey, that young man has always been fun to watch the box ever since he was a kid.
Jaime, man. Yeah, I remember him and his son. They used to come to the gym all the time. And like I said, that's another one. I mean, I remember his son was younger, and he'd just come check it out, and that's how they pick up on it.
Yeah, David Martinez, man. Shout out to him. All right, man. So 5, 6, 7, 8, you're hanging around the gym, you're watching your brother. Now, is there a deeper background in boxing in your family? Does your father or anybody else along that line were into boxing? How'd that start?
No, my dad always liked boxing. My dad was
Hmm.
a real hardcore boxing fan, and obviously, parents. He's always like, man,
Yeah.
well, I'm giving you the support my parents didn't give me, so you better. My dad was one of them old school dads. He's like, you better pick up on this and blah. He'll tell my brother and me that, like, nothing in life is easy. I wish my parents would have supported me when I was younger. He give you the pep talk.
Right.
So that's how we picked up on it. Cause to be honest, man, and I always said this, like all fighters will say, man, since I grew up, I want to be a fighter. I'm like, fuck no, I ain't want to be no fighter, man. I'm like, dog getting hit. I'm like, that wasn't for me, I wanted to have, like, originally when I was younger, I wanted to be either a soccer player or a veterinarian, and that was one of the
Mm.
two. But like I said, my dad kind of pushed that up on me, which up to this day, I'm very, very thankful that he did, because obviously this is how I make my living now. But
Yeah.
that's how it started, and my dad just liked boxing, and he took us to the gym. We obviously tried other. My brother tried other sports, and he didn't like them, but he really did like boxing, and like I said, we just stuck with it, man.
Well, Mexicans love to do. Well, we do like to do a lot of things, but the top two are fighting and drinking. So
Yeah,
yeah,
there you go. So boxing and beer, man, you can't go wrong with that.
absolutely not. So when you guys were here in Houston, what gym did you start off in? Now, was your dad coaching y'all, or did you start off with a coach?
No, my dad obviously took us to a coach, but he was always around. My dad always
Mm,
was around. We started off, at different gyms that now are closed. Like, well,
mm,
not even closed, just moved locations. We started off. It was a Lee Canalitos boxing gym. It's an old
mm.
gym in downtown. It's closed. As a matter of fact, sometimes I just drive by there just to, because the building's still there. So you kind of get those, flashbacks, man. Like, man, I remember running by those stairs or doing this and that. So they closed that gym down, and then we eventually moved to the Main Street boxing gym where I've been training at, my entire life. And since then they closed the other gym down, and that's where it started. But my dad, he took us to a trainer. Well, he took my brother to a trainer at the time was Sammy Fuentes, and then
Mm,
from there, we went with Walt Haley, which was
mm.
Mr. Walt Haley that just passed
Yeah.
away this last December, I think it was. And he's the one that started me. He was the one that taught me the basics. And then from there, we went to the Main Street Boxing Gym with Aaron. Aaron used to help out Mr. Walt Haley, and then
Yeah.
we went with Bobby too. We joined Bobby joined us in the team once in our pro career. Well, Bobby still caught me in my amateur years, but more for my brother's pro years. And then we just brought Edward Jackson to my team, which was another great trainer that trains me now, and that's, man, like, that's how it all started.
Man, that's a hell of a pedigree from Walt Haley. Man, I mean, that's a lot of history. That's a knowledge.
Yeah, you got
I
way
talk,
back.
yeah. I talked to Coach Jaime, and he's always, talking to me about the old school coaches,
Hmm.
and Walt Haley, man, that's a pedigree. And then
Yeah,
Aaron
yes.
Navajo, he's been a friend of the show. He's been on another
Yeah.
great coach.
So Wall was the first one that took me up a boxing ring to my first amateur fight. That was Wall Haley, man.
On your first pro fight.
My first amateur fight,
Oh,
Wall
your first
Haley.
amateur.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh,
yeah. So he
nice.
walked me up to my first ever fight. Wall Haley did it. Yep.
And how old were you then?
I was about 8. It was a Golden Gloves
Oh,
tournament.
wow.
Yeah, it was a Golden Gloves tournament, and man, to be honest, man, I didn't even really know what was going on. I mean, they're just like, oh, well, we're gonna go and you're gonna fight. There's gonna be people there. Just relax, don't get nervous. And obviously, I was a little brother, so my brother was always looking out for me, man. He was like, look, man, don't trip. Just let your hands go. That's all you got to
Yeah.
do. And even up to the later years, man, I was always a little brother, so I always felt like confident because I had my brother there. He was always there, like, hey, like, this is gonna be cool. Even for any little thing, my brother was always there. Like for school, I'll get in trouble. He'll straighten me out. It was like always, I had somebody to look out for me.
Man, that's amazing. I want to give you a chance to tell your story and talk about your brother, man. I know that I think it was this past week marked the anniversary
Yeah.
of his passing. Take us back, bro. You mentioned something earlier. Sometimes you like to drive by, that old gym, the old building, and you just mentioned that your first amateur fight was at 8 years old. And today what you're about 28, 29, 28,
28.
28. So we're talking 20 years in this
Yes.
business. 20
Yes.
years. You've seen a lot. You've done a
A
lot.
lot. Yes.
And you've seen a lot change. So take us back, man. Take us back to that time where it was you and your brother, where it was you had him there, and how everything just changed.
Well, like I said, I mean, just being the little brother, man, like you have somebody always looking out for you. And I know a lot of people always have somebody to strain you out. And, we're not a big family. So it's only my sister, my older sister, my brother, and me. So my sister moved out. She got married at a young age. So it was just always my brother and myself, man. Like I said, it got to the point where I don't even think my dad had to really look out for me because he knew my brother was straining me out. Every time I'll get in trouble at school, first person they'll call was my brother. And then my brother right away he'll tell the teacher or whoever called him, put him on the phone, and then I'll get on the phone. My brother be like, "Hey, like cut your shit out, bro. Like come on, straighten out, like, or
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to really tell dad." So then that's when I knew, like, all right. So and then in the boxing gym too, man, like he was always teaching me, one thing I could tell you, man, like everybody asks, like, what did you learn from your brother? Just to be humble, man. He would always tell me, like, hey, don't carry yourself like that. Because I'm
Hmm.
not gonna lie. I mean, even up to this day, I'm a little bit of a, you're now with social media and stuff. You want to be flashy. You want to show what you got. You want to. My brother was always the type, like, hey, like, just be quiet, man. Do your work, get your win, and that's it. You don't gotta,
Hmm.
if somebody's gonna say, if you're good, let somebody else say it. Don't be the one to say I'm this, I'm that. He's like, he would always
Hmm.
tell me, like, let other people say it. You just stay quiet and remain humble. So even up to this day, man, like I have to remind myself, like, hey, like don't be doing that shit. Like, hey, straighten out. Like, don't carry yourself like that. Cause why? 'Cause that's what people are gonna remember. Like, oh man, that kid
Hmm.
was cool. That kid was nice. Or they're gonna remember you like, oh, now that kid was a show off. That kid, he was kind of arrogant. So you don't want to have that. So
Hmm.
like I said, up to this day, my brother passed away. April. I mean, his fight was April 30th, and he passed away 5 days later, which was May 5th, and this was 12 years ago. So even 12 years later, man, I still have that in the back of my mind. How sometimes, like I said, I'm carrying myself the wrong way, and I'm like, hey, my brother wouldn't want this. My brother would tell me right now. And as old as I am, I'm like, man, if my brother was still here, I'll still be the little brother. I'll still be that little kid. I was like, man, he'll even tell me, I don't care if you have a whole family, you're still a little kid to
Hmm.
me. So you gotta
Yeah.
straighten out. So it's always good
What
to
was the
have
age difference?
he
What was
was
the age
about
difference?
8 years old, 8 years older than me.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. So we have
Yeah.
like yeah. So I was still in high school. He was out of high school. He would always take me to school and stuff. And like I said, man, it was hard because having that somebody always looking out for you and strain you out. Sometimes, like I said, I have to put in my mind, like, hey, my brother wouldn't want me to do this. Don't do that. Or,
Yeah.
just like I said, always try to remain humble, like he always told me to do so.
So yeah, your dad, he's still with us, right?
Yeah, my dad's still here. My
How,
dad, my
how
dad,
old how old is your dad?
my dad's about 55, 56,
Oh,
man.
he's still young too,
Yeah,
huh? Oh,
yeah,
he's
and
still young. There
my
was just
dad's
a
a
bit.
my dad's a runner. My dad loves running. Like for real, man. You'll catch my dad at Memorial in the morning running. My dad's crazy. Like he'll run fucking 9, 12 miles. I'm like, damn, dad, you running more than me. So he's
Nice.
a
That's what's
runner. As
up.
as
Yeah.
far as the boxing, my dad after my brother passed away, we went through difficult times, obviously, and my dad kind of pulled back a little bit. He's kind of figured, and he knows, and I know, like, hey, I got to give this my 110%, or it has consequences. Obviously, if you're not well prepared, if you're not mentally ready, it's just all gonna have consequences. So, my dad don't really come to the gym with me much. He's at my fights, but he
Mhm.
kind of knows, like, hey, his coaches will handle the work, and he knows what he has to do to be ready.
That's amazing. That's amazing. We got Joe. from Next Fight Up saying Mikey podcasting from the whip because he's always on the move.
He's right, but right now it's my kids, man. If I walk in that house, my kids will be jumping on my back. So that's why I'm in the whip for now.
There you go. Hey, so when and your brothers, what was your brother's pro career like? How did that
My
happen?
my brother started off his career at I believe it was 11-0, man. 11-0. My
Mm,
brother was 11-0, and then he got wrapped up in that, like every boxer, man. He wasn't the first case, and he won't be the last. Where you're lacking that work, you're lacking that, And I mean, you can hear this a million times. I'm like, man, my brother could have been world champion. He just chose, I'm gonna say it. He chose the party life. He loved women too much. That's one thing, and he just, man, he lost the love to it. When you start, that's why sometimes I tell people like, hey, you start too early, you're eventually gonna fall out of love with the sport. When you get put so many years in and so much work, you get to that later stage where you're like, man, I don't want to do this shit no more, man. I'm tired, man. I'm just gonna, take the day off. And I think that's what happened to my brother. He lost a couple of fights, and then he came back when we got with Bobby Ben. He came back. He refocused. He won some fights, and then he got some other opportunities. He lost, and that last fight, I always talk about it. People ask me like, "Are you, do you want to talk about it?" Like, yeah, of course I'll talk about it because my brother's still with me to this day. That last fight, I could tell you physically, mentally, I did camp with him. He was ready, and it's just one of them, unfortunate situations, man, where people ask like, "What happened?" I'm like, even the doctors don't know what happened because they're like, it could have been one blow from the head, or it could have been accumulation throughout the years. He had brain swelling. Um, and it just happened that my parents were the ones that had that choice. I'm sure we could have left him on life support and he probably would have still been here, but you don't want to be like in a vegetable mode the rest of your life. You ask yourself like, well, my brother would have
mm,
wanted this, or well, my brother would have been like, just let me go. When the
mm,
doctors talked to us, I think it was like 95, 96% of his brain was gone. They're like, he could be like this forever because he's an athlete, because he's healthy, because he has good lungs, but he's here, but he's not here. You get me? So
mm.
my dad and my mom, they're the ones that that's why I admire them, because they had to make that situation, that decision, and in that situation, and they just decided, man, like, hey, we don't want this for our son, and who wouldn't? Everybody, it's easy to say, man, you should just keep them, but like I said,
Mm.
it's nobody wants to live like that the rest of their life, man.
Yeah, that's a tough decision, and man, yeah, it's a tough decision. I asked because here we are, you and your brother, you're boxing, you got a home in Maine. You have your trainers, your coaches. You're putting in your work. You've been fighting since you were 18. I mean, since you were 8, and then at the age of 17, you were about 17, right, when this happened.
Yes.
All right, so you were 17,
I was 16, gonna turn 17
16.
like in 2-3 months, so yeah, I was
What?
almost close to 17.
So what was your reaction to everything, to the sport, to the death?
At the time, man, I was so young that I was just in love with the sport, and it never crossed my mind to stop.
Hmm.
It never crossed my mind, hey, I'm gonna stop. Or I was always like, man, fuck it, I'm gonna keep doing this. This
Hmm.
is what I do. I'm gonna keep doing this. Obviously, everybody's like, man, are you sure? My mom was
Hmm.
like, son, you better quit. My sister was like, yeah, you need to stop. And then my dad was kind of like I said, my dad's old school. He just stay quiet, and he's just like, man, I'll support you, whatever you want to do. So I was like, man, I want to do this. Obviously, man, a lot of people don't understand, man. Years later, at 24, 25, I had my first son. That's when you really start thinking, like, man, is this really? Because you're not just alone now. Like, I mean, before I had kids, I was like, fuck it, I die. Because I always had that mentality. After my brother died, I'm like, fuck it. Whenever it's my time to go, I'm ready to go. Why? Because I have
Hmm.
somebody. It's like I feel like I have somebody waiting for me. But then when I have my kids, it's like man, is this really what I want to die for? Because I have my kids. I don't want to leave my kids, you know? So then it goes back, like, I have, now it's like a love and hate relationship with boxing for me. I love it, but at the same time, I'm like, as I grow older, like, man, this fucking sport took my brother from me, you know? Because if it wasn't for this, but then again, I'm like, hey, it's destiny, man. I think we all have that time when we're gonna go, and one way or another, it was my brother's time. But when I see fighters like, oh man, I'm willing to die in the ring, I'm willing to do this, I'm like, man, no, don't say that, bro. Like, I mean, to me, I'm like, now to me, this is my job, man. Like, I don't want to die for my job because I have a whole family to you know, to attend. But I understand as a young, like how I was at one point when I was young coming up, I was like, man, fuck it, I'll die for this sport. Now it's like, okay, I got a family. I think about it twice. And then a lot of people are gonna criticize you and say, oh, I remember one thing that comes to mind was when Margarito fought Cotto the second time. How Margarito was like, I'm willing to die in the ring, and Cotto was like, for what? This is my job. Like, I have a family, so I can relate to that. I'm like, I understand Cotto, because Cotto was right. And
that was a bad man too.
Margarito was just like, man, fuck it, I'll die in that ring. And I remember Max is like, well, doesn't he have an advantage of you? And I was like, yeah, but you know, like I said, it's just at the end of the day, man, as our job is like, I get ready, and then whatever happens is gonna happen, you know, one way or another. You know, destiny is set already, and when we're ready to go, we're gonna go.
Well, it's good to hear that you use it as fuel, and that you didn't, you know, because you don't know how to react. You don't know how people are going to react to situations. Like, some people might turn to hate and say, you know, I never want to put on another pair of gloves again. I don't want nothing to do with the sport. But you used it. You used it as fuel. You used it as motivation, and it's paid off, bro. It's paid off, and look what you're doing now. You know, the city's proud of you. The state's proud of you. You got all the support of your family and everyone around you. So, you know, great job being able to handle something as tragic as that and turn it into a positive. You know, I think I have Coach Collinsworth waiting back here. Let me pull him in. There you go.
What's happening, brother?
How you doing?
Hey, I'm in Greenspoint Mall. Look, hold on.
Be careful, man.
I'm outside the gloves.
I would have went by there. We would have done it like right there.
Hey, they on about 5. We 12. I said, but I asked Miguel to come on the show, man. I gotta check in, so I came out here and jumped on the live, brother.
We having a great conversation, man.
Yeah, I called it. I wanted you to be on the show so I can learn your background. Me and Aaron is great friends. Me and Bobby go back 20 years, and me and you never chopped it up. But I'm a big fan. I've been watching your fights, man, and me and Aaron talk all the time, brother. And I didn't know I've been on about the last 10 minutes, and I didn't know half your story, bro. I'm glad you came on, man, so we could get it on there, brother. We big fans,
my pleasure, man. Thank you guys for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. What's going on? What's the crowd looking like out there? Give us a live report, bro.
It's the championship. It's the championship round, so it's thin. A lot of people didn't make it.
It's
a lot of people. Yeah, a lot of people didn't make it, but I'm gonna warm this boy up, and we're gonna go ahead and win that 138-pound division.
I thought you were gonna say the $138,000 prize.
Oh man, no, that comes later, man. He gotta make it. He gotta make it to Miguel's level, man. That's what we gotta do.
Hey, that's where it starts. That's where it starts, brother.
Absolutely. Hey, hopefully you'll come back on, bro, so I can get in there too, man, and be on there with y'all.
I'm all for you guys. Let me know.
Appreciate it, brother. Let me go warm this kid up, man.
All right, good luck, coach. Kick some ass.
Have a good one.
Salute.
All right, we had Coach Collinsworth dropping in live from the Houston Golden Gloves 2021 championship bouts. Man, good luck to all the fighters. It's been a crazy week down there in Greenspoint. Did you happen to make it out there at all this weekend?
I didn't get to make it this time, but man, I really, because I heard there was some great fights. Actually, some guys from the main could have made it on there, man.
Yeah, it's been an experience, and I know I see you around a lot. I usually don't go up to people we hadn't met before. But I've always seen you out in anything has to do with boxing in the local community. You're there, whether it's Next Fight Up, whether it's the Golden Gloves, whether it's any show, man. And I've always admired that about you. You go, you hang out, you're taking pictures, you're shaking hands, and
I always try, man. I always try. Like I said, I mean, that's the way I was taught. You know, always come out.
So next time I see you, I'm gonna come up to you and be like, "What's up,
man, for sure."
All right, so here we are, and talking about not meeting you. I remember, I think it was the first time that I saw one of your fights live, and it didn't come out in your favor. But I remember thinking, man, that's a bad kid, man. Was at Cervici's fight at, was it Silver Screening?
Oh, Silver Street. Yeah. That was my first loss, man. That one was tough because it was the first loss, and at the end of the day, man, like, man, learning experience, and all my losses up to today, I'm like, man, charge it to the game. Got to keep grinding, got to keep working, man.
But I was sitting there and I was watching it, and I was like, man, this kid is something great, man. I instantly became a fan. So walk us up to that point. You know, you were boxing as a kid. You've been training at Maine. At 16, 17, you lost your brother. What happened at, when you got back in the gym and you're training? How did you finish your amateur career and start your pro career?
So before my brother had passed away, we're already talking about me turning pro at 17. Actually, I was gonna go down to Mexico and have my pro debut and stuff. And when my brother passed away, I was like, hey, like, that doesn't change anything. So it's time to turn pro, because I had enough with the amateurs as it is. And so I turned pro. My brother passed away in May. I think my first pro fight was like in August. Turned pro in August, and I'll turn pro here locally, selling tickets. I know that's a struggle. That's why I always try to support all the fighters here, selling tickets, paying for your opponents and stuff like that. And like always, man, I had great support from people. I fought on a bunch of Lou Severy's cards, Bobby Ben. They always helped me out, man. So I was always, that's why, I'm always real thankful for them. So eventually I got signed with my manager now, Louis the Cubas Jr. And we started off with, he took us to Golden Boy. And then that a couple of years later, that's when Golden Boy had the big old split up with Al Heyman. And we obviously went with Al Heyman. And, that's when it all started, man. My manager, Louis the Cubas, he did like a hell of a job with me too. Because after like 8 fights with him, I think I was 17, 18-0. Wow. I started getting televised. And obviously, man, that fight that you were just mentioning that you were at, man, that was my first loss, and obviously, I think the whole fight, man, I remember that fight. I felt like I was controlling it, and I just got caught, man. Like, to be honest, that win, I always gave him his props, and I'm like, hey, you were the better fighter that night, not taking nothing away from you, and like I said, I got caught in exchange with a punch I didn't see coming. I couldn't recover.
It was on the inside, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was moving, got caught over the top, and he dropped me. I got up. The ref stopped it. It's crazy, man. Both times that I've been dropped and stopped like that, man, it's Lawrence Cole that was the same ref for my brother's last fight. Like, it's just crazy. And even after the last fight that I got stopped, man, we just joked. I was like, Lawrence, man, like, I'm never going to let you rep one of my fights again, And he even told Aaron, like, man, I kind of feel bad for the kid, because, we have background. I'm like, hey, man, shit happens. I'm not mad at nobody. No, it's all my fault. And I've always said, like, I have 4 losses. All those 4 losses, I can come up with a million excuses on why 2 I lost. I'm like, no, there's none. It was my fault. And, got to take it as learning experience and move on to the next.
Well, you know what? We I had actually said this in our group chat with the team yesterday. Winning or losing doesn't define us. Our character does.
Yes.
And listen, you can be undefeated and be a total dick.
Exactly.
And I mean, I wouldn't want to be that person. There's a lot of people that I see that are winning, like just winning in life in general, winning.
Yeah.
but I would never want to be like them. And so you take it for what it is. You learn and you make the adjustments. That's what boxing is.
Yeah, that's
boxing is all about making the small adjustments, coming back and getting the job done the next time.
That's what I tell. Like every time I talk to young up and comers, man, I'm like, look, boxing will have you one day at the top of the throne. The next day, man, you'll be rock bottom, man. So you gotta always remember to stay on the earth. Like don't rise yourself up above other people, man, because we're all equal, and especially in boxing, man, just like in life, but in boxing especially, man, one day you'll be at the top, next day you'll be at the bottom.
Oh man, ain't that the truth? So what do you what's the game plan? What do we have going on for you moving forward?
Well, like I said, man, after my last fight, I had a tough loss. It was a title eliminator, and I got caught once again, man. Like I said, it's learning experience, and to this day, man, I'm like, man, I didn't fucking follow, because I'm always like, man, stay focused, and that's what I think. That's what I lacked my last fight. It wasn't even about being well prepared, because I'm always 100%, physically prepared. It was just about mentally, man. I was all over the fucking place. So we lost this last fight, and now we got in contact with my manager a couple of weeks ago, and we're back, God willing, June 19, man. I believe Jamal Charlo is gonna be the main event here in Houston. So it's gonna be a good show out, and my manager's like, yeah, we'll be on that card I believe it's gonna be at the Toyota Center. So that's what we're getting ready for, man.
Is it a Lions Den promotion?
No, it's gonna be PBC, Premier Boxing Champions, with them. So that's what we're getting ready for, man. We started picking up training about 2 weeks ago. We're going on the third week, and then from here, we'll see what happens after this fight. Obviously, I want to get. I told my trainer, I want about 2 fights just to get my confidence back, man. Just to get that self-confidence back, and I know what I'm capable of doing. My trainers know. If anybody knows, it's my trainers, and they see me at my best. And I just want to earn my spot back, at the top of the featherweight division, and get my crank again if it's possible at a featherweight title.
Who do you like in the featherweight? Who are you eyeing? Who do you like to see yourself match up against?
I mean, I'm not good at calling out people, but I would really love a crank, man, at the guy that last beat me, because I like I said, I know what I'm capable of doing. Actually, he fought last night on the
Ramirez.
Yeah, he fought, and he got a version of the WBA, and obviously I know I'm not just gonna get it because I'm asking for it. I want to fight, like I said, I want to get my confidence back, build up a couple of wins, and hopefully I get a crank at him. But if it's not him, man, any
get that rematch.
Yeah, get that rematch. But any of the top 10 guys, man, I mean, there's a lot of talent in that featherweight division. Leo Santa Cruz, I don't know what he's gonna do, if he's gonna come back down to 26. You got a
Let's run that back too. That was a great fight, man.
Yeah, you got a lot of talent in that division, and like I said, but for now, I want to just get back to the gym, work on things I need to work on, especially the whole staying focused and get back on track.
Hey, I want to get your thoughts on Oscar Valdez. What do you think?
Man, he surprised me, and just how he surprised a lot of people, man, because I really thought Burchell, was gonna do a lot more than what he did. And at the same time, I think Burchell wasn't at his best, but that's not taking nothing away from Valdez. Valdez did what he had to do.
Yeah.
And man, that was that's one of them knockouts, man. You always wonder if the guy's gonna come back the same, because when you fall face first, that's a horrible knockout. So hopefully Burchell can come back too. But I think Valdez right now, he's the king at 130. Maybe not. Maybe there's other guys better than him, but as far as holding weight on the name, I think Oscar Valdez is the number 1 at 130 right now, because there you have a lot of talent as well. Shakur Stevenson, he's another one. I mean, his skill set is up there. Jermell Herring, all of those guys, man, they can fight their ass off. I don't know what Tank is doing. He's moving up to 40. Maybe they didn't come back down to 30, but like boxing's alive right now, man. I'm excited.
One of the things that we always say is, Houston has become the new mecca for boxing, as far as, you have boxers from all over the country to come to Houston to fight. and not only come to Houston, but they come to your gym. They come to Maine. You guys have some fucking sparring going on over there.
You want to talk about like pro boxing in Houston? You got to talk about Maine. That's where everybody comes. Like you just said it, man. The other day we were looking at that, man. We had Shakur. We had a bunch of other guys. Just, you know, Oceanique Foster. We had Reed.
Another one,
we had that gym packed, full of talent, and not just like anybody. These dudes are like world class elite champions, and man, that's where it's at. And
putting in work.
Yeah, and you walk in gym, man. It's not your average gym, man. You'll find it like literally, man. Like you'll have blood in the apron. The bags are, man. Like that's the real gym. You know, that's the real deal. We're not pampered. We don't have AC in there. You know, it is what it is. You get in there, you better be ready to sweat and work.
Hey, not for nothing. I'm fighting in the Masters tournament. May 15th.
Next weekend. I'm sure that's the 14th. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I'm the first fight Saturday, but I was, Coach, Derek's my trainer, and he's like, bro, they ain't got no AC in there.
AC. Yeah, but that's the thing. There is AC, but they don't ever turn it on. So it's like no AC. So I don't know what they're gonna do there. So they may turn it on for you guys. But okay, now that you say it, I'm for sure gonna be there. Then it's gonna be good. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. It's gonna be a fun time. It's gonna be the first one in Texas. I know Bobby's a part of it.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be fun. I'm at weight already, so I'm just gonna be sparring for the next week and a half.
Yeah,
and then,
maintaining.
Yeah, and then ease my way into a fight.
I'm excited for that. Then
it's gonna be good. Well, I appreciate it. It's gonna be fun. So, I also wanted to get your thought on Lomo Checo. What do you think his next move is gonna be, or should be?
Well, I mean, he has that tough fight coming up with the Japanese guys.
Oh, yeah.
So he has that fight coming up, and we're gonna see how he handles that. Obviously, that Japanese is no slouch. He gave Teofimo a tough fight, and he beat Verdejo. So that's gonna be fun to see how he comes back from that. And then from there, we can see like, okay, Loma still got it, or Loma kind of coming back on the downside, because what a lot of people don't realize, man, Loma's past his 32. He's like 33, 34. So obviously, there's the decline. That's when you start slowing down a little bit. So after this next fight, man, we'll be able to tell exactly if he still got it or if he's starting to come downfall.
Yeah, I've always been a big Lomo Checo fan. Theo beat him though, and he beat him decisively. I don't know. Lomo just didn't show up for that fight, and
a lot of people say he waited too long. He waited till I'm like, no, he didn't wait too long. Tio didn't let him do it because he was so worried about that power that he didn't have no other choice. Yeah. He had no other choice than to just take some steam off of the first round, and then. Yeah, so that was actually Tio that didn't let him do what he wanted to do. I'm sure he wanted to get in there and do all his, Matrix shit, but he couldn't.
Yeah, Timo and Timo's been impressive, man. I'm, man, boxing's great, bro.
Yeah,
boxing, all the way from the heavyweights. Did you see the fight last night?
That was
man, that was a beautiful fight, bro.
That's what I said, man. Like a lot of people were so quick to count fighters out. Like, man, that's disrespectful. Like everybody's like, oh, Aurelia is gonna go about 4 or 5 rounds. I bet you a lot of people up to that 5th, 6th round were still shitting bricks because I was like, bro, if Aurelia can catch him a couple more times, he may fucking
beat him. Yeah. Hey, listen, I've been very hard on Ruiz, man. I'm not gonna lie. When I felt he fucked himself in that second fight. I felt like he just. I mean, you know what we call it. Yeah, the feeling that we as Mexicans felt like fuck.
Yeah,
and so this fight, I was still mad at him. And so in the second round, when he got caught, I'm like, fuck, I'm done with him. Like he can't even take this fight serious. And then in the third round, when he got caught again and he came back on that back foot and he started moving forward, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah,
He's
that
got some.
that that actually was, I think, was a little turning point because he kind of let
Right.
Areola know, like, nah, I'm still here. Like, you ain't gonna
Yeah.
go, because Areola tried to step on the gas a little bit and
Yeah.
try him out, but he set his foot down, like you say, and he started
Came
swinging.
forward. Yeah. Started
Yeah,
moving
so
forward.
and then Areola, like I said, Areola made it interesting, man. I was really
Oh, it was a great
they
fight.
both came in shape for a
The
heavyweight fight, man.
conditioning, bro.
They
The
came in
conditioning
great
was
shape. Yes,
tremendous.
yes.
12 rounds. It was 12 rounds, huh? Yeah, 12
12
fucking
rounds,
rounds.
and they were still swinging to the last round, man. That was a
Oh,
great
it was,
card, man. Last night, it was a
yeah, it
great
was.
card. $50 for me. I was like, man, $50 well spent.
Oh, it was good. So boxing's alive, bro. We all the way again from the heavyweights all the way down, man. Every weight class has something to offer. Well, it looks like we might have lost them. If Miguel, if you're still watching, we're gonna go ahead and wait for you to log back in if you can. Watching, man, ask some questions. How y'all been? Y'all catch that fight last night? Let me get some feedback and what y'all thoughts on last night's card. I'll give it a couple minutes, see if Miguel comes back, and then if not, we'll. There he is. Welcome back.
That was my bad, bro.
No, you.
All
No,
right,
you're
yeah,
good. You're
yeah, but
good.
nah, like you were saying, man, boxing, they from the heavyweights all the way, and that's not even talking about Canelo. I mean, you got to me, he came such a long way, man, and people still
Mm.
criticize him. I'm like, man, the dude is the best pound for pound. There was one point where I'm like, man, Crawford is still ahead of Canelo, but Canelo been fighting and beating names, and I'm like, Crawford's still been on the bench a little bit. So till Crawford don't be like a legit top guy with a valuable name, Canelo holds for me the number one pound for pound.
Speaking of that camp, speaking of Canelo, bro, how impressed were you with Eddie Reynoso last night,
Man, Reynoso,
bro?
I mean, I love my team, but if I could have like maybe one fight, it's Eddie Reynoso. Like, I mean, and to me, he's like the dude's Mexican. So man, I think if I ever get to, like, me and Reynoso will click because I love the
Yeah,
way he talks to his fighter in the corner,
right. That
and he
communication, bro.
yeah. So he's good, and you can tell he has a good relationship with his fighters. So I think, to me, Reynoso right now is one of the top. And even then,
Top.
man, to be honest, a lot of people were like, "Oh, well, Andy got dropped." I saw some resemblance from Canelo on Andy. Like, I saw some of the things, like the head movement
Mhm.
that Canelo does on Andy. I'm like, hey, this is only their first fight. Like, it's only gonna get better. And we know as boxing fans, like, Areola got up for this fight, so that
Mm.
wasn't just any Areola he beat. He
Yeah.
beat like one of the best versions of
Oh,
Areola.
he had a hell of a corner as well on his
Yeah.
side.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Joe Goosen, when he came
Yeah.
back and was telling them, like, how you feeling, and
Right.
he's crazy. He's like, keep sticking that jab up his ass and all this. I'm like, fuck it. Like, I think only us as boxing guys understand that vibe,
Right.
man. I'm like, man, these are top of the level corners and top guys, man. And even then, like you said, it wasn't even necessary all the shit talking, because these dudes were
Right.
shaking hands, smiling and
Yeah.
shit before and even after the fight, and they still put on a great performance, and they didn't need none of that. But then again, I do understand that sometimes you need that little extra talk to get that extra audience in
Mhm.
there. Maybe they did some shit talking, they get a couple more buys, because the people buy into that sometimes. Like, oh, this
Yeah.
dude's talking shit. Let's see how he
I,
holds it up.
I'd buy a rematch. I'd
I'll,
buy another fight.
I'll buy.
I'd buy
Yeah,
all three. Shit. I sign me up
exactly.
right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Eddie definitely made a huge difference. Huge impacted Ruiz.
Reese,
And
yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see what that'll lead to, man. I'm all in on Eddie. I'm
Yes.
all in.
I am too. I mean, he's done a hell of a job with the guys, and like I said, I mean, he's also he's polishing these guys, because he had Ryan, he has Valdez, he has Andy. These guys that were already made, but he's kind of, like I say, he's fixing the mistakes and he's putting a little bit of what he knows. But on the other hand, if you want to make a case for it, like he built Canelo from ground up. So that's how he's a real dude and he's a real trainer.
Yeah. It's amazing. So you're big on Canelo, and I'm big on Canelo. I like Canelo. Me and Coach, we have this thing where we're always going back and forth on Canelo. Uh, I I tell him I like Canelo. He's a great fighter, pound for pound. I go back and forth between Canelo and Crawford just because I've seen Crawford do some things. He's able to just turn it on and change styles
He's
and
mean.
and become
in
mean
that,
and just
he a
beat you
dog
down.
in the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's strong.
So
He's a dog.
I go back and forth. Canelo's definitely the cash cow. He's the face of boxing. But where do you stand between the Canelo and Chavez greatest Mexican fighter of all time?
That's something I always tell people. And as a boxing guy, I mean, obviously you got to understand boxing differently, because a lot of even with the Mayweather comparisons, that they were like, oh well, Mayweather was only 52-0, Chavez was 89-0, Canelo is he the they're different eras, man. They're different eras, and you can't compare the fighters from back then to today. Why? Because Chavez in his record, you'll find some of these guys that you're like, what the fuck? This dude's like fucking 5-20. Yeah, as a fighter, imagine if Canelo did that today. Canelo get bashed. Like, who the fuck? And he could easily build up his record to fucking just.
Right.
And those were stay busy fights for Chavez that they were
Right.
able to have. Go back to where he was fighting real names. There's a couple only. So obviously, I think today, if you could build your record up to 89-0 fighting nobodies. I'm not saying Chavez fought nobodies, but it's a different, because he was taking stay busy fights in between his big fights.
That's one of the things I like to poke Derek about is fucking Chavez was fighting 10 fights a year, 10, 15 fights a year.
But
Canelo fought 10 fights in the last 10 years.
Yes, exactly. So, but like I said, and now that Canelo's staying busier, people can like criticize and like, oh, look at who he's fighting. Oh, well, obviously, sometimes the best names aren't always going to be available. So, I'm sure it's not. And like I said, also, you got to put to the fighters back then. They don't make them how they used to make them, man. They don't make these fighters like they used to make them, man. Like I said, that's why you can't compare them. It's different eras. Back then, there was greats. Right now, they're greats, man. And trust me,
So
you're gonna 20, 30 years, Canelo is gonna be remembered as an all-time great as well.
So you're gonna stay neutral, and they're both just great.
Neutral as that one, but obviously, man.
Well played.
And your average fan is always gonna say Chavez. Why? Because he's a more of people's champion. And to me, as like you were saying, Canelo, man, he's a hell of a champion. His skills are impeccable. He's fucking the best right now. Maybe as a person, I'm like, I never talked to him, or he's a little arrogant, and he could come a little, like we would say like mamon, in Spanish. So, and then people don't like that. So that's why he's like 50-50. 50% Mexicans like him, 50% don't like him. Like, trust me, 100% of people like Chavez. So, so that's the only thing different about them, that their personalities may cause some
Absolutely.
difference.
What do you? How do you like this Billy Joe fight coming up against Canelo?
There's nobody beating Canelo. To me personally, nobody beats Canelo. Honestly, I never really seen. I seen highlights of Billy, never really seen. But man, it's a different. Canelo's so smooth in there. He has power. He's explosive. He has great defense. He has,
the head movement.
The head movement. He rolls so perfect with the punches, and that's something, man, that you have to have impeccable timing for that, just to roll enough with the punch for it to slide off. And I mean, to me, like I said, Canelo's gonna, I think he's gonna make it easy work.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just don't see I don't see anyone beating Canelo unless he gets crazy and starts going up in weight again and fighting. And some weight he shouldn't be fighting, and he gets clipped by one of these big guys. But I mean, he's just a beast right now. He's doing his thing. He's the face of boxing. He got out of De La Hoya's thing, out of De La Hoya's contract, which I don't even know how he pulled that off. Shit off.
Exactly.
And
there's always ways. You gotta have a badass lawyer to do that.
and now he's just dealing with the zone directly. So,
he's the cash cow. He's the cash cow.
I'm sure his career is going to end great, and he's going to continue to be the king of boxing, as he has been doing. What who would you say your boxing style resembles?
I'm a boxer puncher. Trust me, man. I've had a lot of comparisons, and I'm like, fuck no, I'm nowhere near those guys. But I have people say like, oh, you kind of like a Marquez, and then some people like, oh, kind of like a Mikey Garcia. You like to counter punch, you like to sit there and wait. I was like, fuck no, I'm nothing like those guys. But that's I wouldn't say like I don't fight like them but sticking and moving. I worry a lot about defense too. Even though I'm Mexican, I'm always trying to protect the face. So I'm like always worrying about defense and I had this one guy at the gym. He's like, man, I feel guilty. He's like, every time you spar, bro, I feel like I gotta pay for that shit because it's so good. Like you're so smooth in there. Like I feel like I'm fucking enjoying this too much. I feel like I gotta pay for this shit. He's like, you remind me like of a Mikey Garcia. You always sit there and you're ready to counter attack. And I developed that though because with my brother, I remember we used to just we had the Mexican style where you just fucking start hooking, start throwing body shots, head in first, come forward. But when we got my other trainer, Edward Jackson, he added a lot to my game, technique wise, just ring craft, be smart. Like they say, man, you gotta train smarter, not harder. And that's what I've always tried to develop. Just be a perfectionist in that ring.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. Well, listen, man, we've had a great time chatting with you, man. I felt like we got to learn so much about you, your story, your family. And it's June 14th.
19th.
19th, I'm sorry. So June 19th here in Houston, location to be determined yet, but you're thinking the Toyota Center.
Toyota Center, yes. That's what it's looking like, man. And I'm excited. Like I said, I'm just ready to be back, man. After like I said, after my last fight, I feel like I have a lot to prove, and God willing, just June 19, man. And especially being here in Houston, I'm gonna have a lot of my people. And I don't call them fans. Like I don't call them fans. I was like, man, my people. Because if you supported me, you my people. So I have a lot of my people there, supporting me. So it's gonna be great night of boxing in the Charlos, man. They always bring a show. So I'm excited to see who else is on the card.
Well, I'm gonna run up the homeboys and make plans for June 19th so we can go out there to Toyota Center and support you, man. Real quick though, give us your top. Let's do top 5 all time pound for pound, and then your top 3 pound for pound active. So
all time, not my favorite, right? All time.
Right. All time.
So all time, I think obviously Muhammad Ali was top, just overall what he did. Number 2, I want to say is a debate between Sugar Ray and Marvin Hagler. You got to put 2 or 3 right there.
Nice.
Or one I personally always liked, man, and he was always just so small. He never got to. If he was any bigger, man, he fucking beat Benito Lopez. If he was bigger, he always, and 5 Salvador Sanchez. Those last 2, man, they could have been probably number 1, but they were just, 1 because he was so small, he fucking never got his, and then the other one because he just left us so soon, man. But it's because that's a tough one, man. You have so many, and I left so many great names out. Roberto Duran, that's another one you got to put there. Chavez, like I said, man, it's so many.
We got to do like a top 10 or something.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure once he fucking retires, if he ever does, Pacquiao is gonna have to be like number 3. They're all up there. Mayweather, obviously, because just so much, man. Yeah. But
So your top three pound for pound active.
Active, I want to say obviously Canelo 1. Um, I want to put Terrence 2 if he needs to be a little bit more active. And then the third one, man, that's a tough one. Probably Tyson Fury, man, because to me, uh, I had Wilder up there, man. He was just laying dudes out, and then after what Fury did to him, and after what he did, he beat Klitschko. People forget he really beat Klitschko. That was up there. Retired, did fucking coke for I don't know how many years, and came back and did that, man. Like he has to be up there, top three, man. Yeah, they're up there. Yep.
You know, you think we're ever gonna see this Terrence Crawford Earl Spence fight?
I don't
It
think
needs
so.
to happen, bro.
As much as I hate it, I don't think it's gonna happen, and I don't even think it's. Well, no, it may be because of them, but just the negotiations, man. That's what a lot of people don't understand, man. The negotiating part, it takes so much. Who's gonna get what? It goes as far as down like who's walking out first and all this and that. Like, and sometimes us as fighters, we put that on it. Like you had what's the dude, the heavyweight that fought yesterday? What's his name? Was it Chisora? I don't know. They was trying to pull out because he was gonna be announced first or some shit. So it goes the negotiating, man. That's where it starts, and I really really hope that Terrence and Errol, get that made. But like I said, man, as much as it hurts, I think us as fans, because I'm a boxing fan, even though I think we deserve that, but just from the way they talk, it's not gonna happen. I mean, just Errol saying he wants 65%.
70-30.
Yeah, so you already know that shit ain't even
He's talking himself out the fight.
Yeah, he's talking, so that shit ain't even gonna get close to happening, man, and it sucks.
What about these social media fights that we've been having with like Paul Logan and Thriller?
I'm no one to talk on a man's hustle, because them motherfuckers are making money, and is it good or bad? Who knows? But they're bringing. One thing is they are bringing new audience, different type of audience, but they're bringing it, and they are giving boxers more exposure, because like the last Thriller fight, they had Regis on there, so he got more exposure and stuff. That's the plus. On the downfall, they're taking spotlight from fighters that have been doing it all their years. They're taking money that fighters that have been doing it all their year won't even be able to have ever. So you have pros and cons, but at the end of the day, I mean, they're gonna keep doing it. So hey, I'm entertained. I'll watch. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you I'm not gonna watch that, and I'll watch it just because of the show, just because of what it is. And Snoop Dogg adds. You gotta have Snoop Dogg.
A whole new level, yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, I mean, there's pros and cons to that.
Listen, I think it's good for business. I think it's good for the boxing business. I think it's a good model. You're absolutely right. It brings in new fans. It brings in a new audience. And I think it just needs to be tweaked a little bit. I think you're right. I think they need to show more actual fighting and boxers and give them. Yeah. You got to give boxing its due respect. And so make sure we're high. Yeah. Let's not turn it into a circus. Yeah. Let's keep it pure. We can add all the rapping
and now
and the
that
singing.
You say that, it's because like a person like me, I know how serious the sport is, and when I see like people making fun of it, or I'm like, man, y'all must not know this shit is. You could literally die, because I know what it's like. So you could die, and to see, like you say, adding the all this show, like, hey, like let's be serious about this shit, and because this is not a game, it's not something to be played with. But like you say, obviously, I tell everybody that, like, what do you think about Jake Paul and his brother? Like, the day these dudes fight somebody that can actually fucking fight, it's gonna be a wrap. They can keep so somebody really gonna get hurt, then they're gonna be like, oh shit, we should have fucking thought about this. But I'm like, as long as they keep fighting, I'm not gonna say nobody, as long as they keep fighting these other celebrities and stuff, it's gonna be fun and games till somebody actually gets hurt.
But they need to make the adjustments. Let's get some more real fighters, some pro fighters in there. Let's give them the exposure that they deserve. And we could all make money. They can make money. No one's. I'm not saying you know, they want to use this as an avenue to build their brand and make money. Cool, but let's respect the sport. Let's respect
respect
it.
the sport. Yeah, respect the
Well,
sport. That's the way.
again, my man Miguel, it was a pleasure chatting with you, bro. I look forward to June 19th, bro. Hopefully, I get to see you in 2 weeks over there
Yes, we'll be
at
there, man.
Maine.
We'll be there.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
and where can people find you at on social media?
Social media on Instagram and Twitter, L_, my nickname, Michoacano #2. That, I'm always active on there, especially on Twitter. I always like talking on Twitter. So there it is, L_Michoacano, and then the #2, because my brother was #1, so I'm #2. That's where the two comes
Nice.
from. Yes.
Well, that's what's up, brother.
For sure, man.
Much success, man, and we're gonna make sure to continue to following you and supporting you and everything you do, man. Much love. Thank you for coming on the show.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you guys for having me on, man. Hope to
For
be back on
sure.
soon, man. Take care. All
Oh,
right. Have a good
absolutely.
one.
Peace.
Have a good one.
You too, brother.